Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. Rex, this is for you, my friend. I would not want you to have to suffer watching a rerun of mine while you're eating perfectly good wings. So this is a tribute to Rex before I go down to Santa Cruz. Anyway, so we're on the last chapter of the Robert Spencer book review. It's called Islam Spread by the Sword? You Bet. And Robert Spencer attempts to prove that Islam, and only Islam, he tries to save Christianity from its past history here, that Islam was only spread by the sword. Now, he talks about after Muhammad, Islamic Arabia spreads to the Byzantine Empire and the Persian empires, and those areas are then conquered under the Islamic Khalifa. Now, what's interesting is that he says, did this transformation take place through preaching and the conversion of hearts and minds? Not at all. The sword spread Islam. Under Islamic rule, the non-Muslim majorities of those regions were gradually whittled down to tiny minorities they are today, through oppression, discrimination, and harassment that made conversion to Islam the only path to a better life. Now I want to point something out here. This is ridiculous, this statement. He just said the majorities, the non-Muslim majorities become minorities. Well, last time I checked, in India, where the Mughal Empire ruled for many years, it was an Islamic-ruled country, empire. As far as I know, today, the majority are Hindus in India. So that would be a false statement that Robert Spencer just generalized the entire area that Muslims have encountered. Then he talks about, he quotes a letter that Muhammad sent out to the rulers of Byzantium, Heraclius, and the Persians, Croesus, king of Persia, and he tells them, he quotes only a part of this. He says, let's see here. The Prophet of Allah wrote to Croesus, king of Persia, Caesar, emperor of Rome, that is Heraclius, Negus, king of Abyssinia, and every other despot, inviting them to Allah the Exalted. He exhorted them to embrace Islam and you will be safe. Now, the thing is that Robert Spencer spins this to essentially say that they will only be safe if they convert to Islam. However, he was actually telling, like, from a physical fight, is what Spencer tries to spin it. However, he neglects to mention that in these letters, when the ambassadors show up to these different regions, he's inviting them to Islam as a religion. It has nothing to do with them. It's for their souls to be safe, not them, not a physical fight. Now, goes on to say that when the Muslims came in and to North Africa and other Middle Eastern countries that were being run by the Byzantine Empire, that the civilians under the yoke of Byzantine rule welcomed the Muslims as liberators, and that they were essentially the good guys. And Robert Spencer says this is incorrect. In fact, he quotes a couple historians who say that not everyone was extremely happy that the Muslims were in control of these areas. Now, the thing is that I could quote other historians if I wanted to show that people were happy that the Muslims were in control of the area. Changing hands from one civilization, from one ruler to the next, you're going to have people who are happy about this and people who are unhappy about this. Now, there is a individual on YouTube named CryptoVetus, and I will post the link for his YouTube account, who has an excellent video. He's a Jew, where he actually shows the history of Christian aggression, and primarily a lot of them are under the Byzantine rule. Once the Christians had taken over the Byzantine Empire, they were the majority. It shows the harsh reality that pagans had to suffer under their rule. Paganism was virtually wiped out where Christians settled. It was demonized, and their symbols became demonized. Now, what's ironic here is that he tries to spin that that Christianity did not spread like Islam. He says that Islam, and I will try and find the quote here, he basically says that Islam, unlike Christendom, the Christians were a minority without any real power. They were persecuted, and they spread throughout the Middle East under persecution and pain of death, which is very true. I'm not going to deny that early Christianity suffered many pains, and they did not spread exactly like Islam spread. However, what he neglects to mention in his book, and he has neglected this since chapter 1. If you go back and watch my first video, you'll see he neglects to mention this. He skips over this, that the Muslims were persecuted in the very beginning. They were always being persecuted. Why do you think Muhammad had to flee to Medina, which Robert Spencer never clearly states? And he had to fight. He had to fend off invasions against the pagan Arabs and things like this. So, very much, they were very, in a way, they were the early beginning of both communities, Christianity and Islam, were very similar. Now, it just took some quicker than others to reach a more powerful position in their history. Now, Christianity by no means has had a peaceful spreading. Now, I'm not going to deny that Christianity from the start they were persecuted. They had many martyrs, and this is very true. But the thing is that Christianity has had a very bloody history. In fact, many religions have had a bloody history. You know, we don't need to bring up the fact that many people clichely bring up just the Inquisition and the Crusades, but why stop there? You have the European pagans. Their religions were virtually destroyed under or assimilated, and their symbols then demonized, as I mentioned earlier, by the Christian communities in Europe. Why is it that the largest empire in the world, Great Britain, was a Christian empire? You know, if Robert Spencer is going to try and convince us that missionaries first went to these countries, you know, in the New World, and the soldiers had nothing to do, which he does say in his book. He says, no, Christian missionaries went there first, whereas Muslims sent soldiers as the people who converted the individuals. Not only is this incorrect, but he's being a hypocrite, because there were soldiers who accompanied the destruction of the Aztec empires and the Mayan empires. All were under Christian rulership. And if he's going to try and say that this was not a religious concept, then what about Manifest Destiny and pushing the Native Americans out of the New World? That had nothing to do with religion? So it's unfair to say that Islam is the only religion that has had a violent past. Many human beings ignore and abuse religious teachings, and for political gain or otherwise, take to the sword. Now, in the view of the early Muslims, they saw the greatest threat and the greatest tyrants, because Islam is against tyranny, as the Byzantine Christians and the Persian Empire. It is a natural occurrence in human history to have one empire be replaced by another, one group leader replaced by another leader, etc., etc., etc. So it is incorrect for him to say that Christianity only sent out missionaries and things like this, and that there was no violence, that they were priests and monks, not military men. There were military men involved with the spreading of Christianity. So, again, I would like to point out, this is cliche for me to say this, but what military leader went to Indonesia, China, Japan? Islam has spread in many places in a peaceful manner, not just by an empire. And so with that, I leave you with this. Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, and in Europe and in America. Which Muslim empire went there, which military troops went there, and things like this. However, the religion that did show up to these lands and did spread violently, in most cases, was Christianity. Now, is this video meant to be a mudslinging from Christianity, Islam's better than Christianity? No. I'm just stating the facts. I'm stating the truth. I'm admitting that there has been violence in both religions, and I wish Robert Spencer could do the same. So, thank you everyone for watching this video. This concludes the Robert Spencer book review. I hope it has been enlightening. I hope you enjoy. Please spread the series. Please spread the series, and please share it with your friends and with your family. It is important that you do your homework and look at what sources someone is using, and do not just take an author's word for it just because they happen to be a New York Times bestseller. So thank you very much for listening. This is Colin signing off, and this concludes it. Peace be with you all. Good day.